Hello everyone and welcome to another Google Analytics tutorial. Today we're going to learn how to use Google Analytics to improve our Google Ads campaigns. Before we go straight to the point, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It helps tremendously to create new content, so thank you very much in advance. And let's get started. Now, before we dive in, it is very important to establish whether Google Analytics is connected with Google Ads. I have another video on that, but very quickly, let's go through the basics in this video as well. So to link Google Ads with Google Analytics, first you need to go to Admin on the bottom left-hand side. Then you need to scroll. You're going to find Google Ads links here under Product Links. We're going to click on it. And here we need to click the link button, find our account, and link it. Now, in order to do this, the email that you are using should have admin access in the Google Analytics account, and the same email should also have admin access in the Google Ads account, right? So in order to link Google Ads with Google Analytics, the email you are using for Google Analytics should also have admin access in Google Ads. Let's say that we establish that. There is one more thing that you need to check before we get started. You're going to go to your Google Ads account. You are going to go again on the left-hand side under admin here, and you're going to find this section called auto tagging, and you need to make sure that this is enabled. So long story short, before we even get started, you need to make sure that your Google Ads account is connected to Google Analytics, and you also need to make sure that auto tagging is enabled. Now that we cleared all this out of the way, let's actually get started. Now, we want to use Google Analytics to improve our Google Ads campaign performance, right? So we need to ask a couple of questions, and we're going to take things one question at a time. So first, we're going to go to traffic acquisition. And when we go to traffic acquisition report, we are going to select the time frame that we want to investigate, and you should be able to see traffic coming from cross-network. Cross-network means your performance max campaigns, and traffic coming from your paid search. Paid search means your search campaigns, right? So any traffic that is coming from a performance max campaign from Google Ads is going to come as cross-network under the default channel group. Any traffic that comes from a search campaign is going to come as paid search. And if you have video campaigns, then you will see another entry called paid video. Or if you change the dimension here to session source / medium, you should see an entry here that is called Google /CPC, and this entry represents your entire Google Ads traffic. So once we establish that now, let's ask the first question. The first question is, are we improving? Like, meaning we are sending traffic to our website. Do we see an improvement when it comes to our Google Ads campaign performance? And the easiest way to understand that is to actually go on the top right-hand side, and we are going to click the comparison button, and we're going to compare with the previous time period. So if you are looking, for example, at this month, then you need to compare with the previous month. If you are looking, let's say, at the one quarter, you're going to compare with the previous quarter. And to make our life now easier, we're going to use source medium here. We are going to filter Google CPC so we can see everything as one entry. And we are going to compare not only the traffic. So here we see that we get lesser sessions. This is a demo account, by the way. All the data are for demonstration purposes. Most importantly, you need to look under event count and key events, right? So you need to compare whether you are getting more or less key events comparing to the previous period, right? So here we get 55% less purchases comparing to the previous period, which means that this Google Ads traffic is not doing as well during these days comparing to the previous period. Now, you need to also take into account some other factors, right? So how much did we spend? And maybe we spent more or less. This will reflect in the amount of traffic also, right? Sessions, right? So here we can see that the difference in terms of traffic is only, let's say, minus 8-9%, but the difference in terms of key events is 55%, which means that in this example, we are definitely not doing as well comparing to the previous period. So this is question number one. Question number one, compare with the previous period. Are we doing better? Are we doing worse? You need to look into the number of sessions or users. You need to look into key events. You need to look into revenue if you are also e-commerce, for example, and that will tell you, it will give you the first hint on whether you need to optimize things. Now, we established we are not doing as well in this scenario, right? Now, what we can do actually is we can click here in the dimension, we can go to session campaign, and because now we linked Google Ads with our Google Analytics, under session campaigns, we will be able to see the name of the Google Ads campaigns that we are running, right? So for example, here, everything that has this naming convention, for example, Evergreen is a Google Ads campaign, right? So this is Performance Max, this is search. So what we can do is we can use the search bar here and we can actually filter maybe everything that is labeled as Evergreen, which is the naming convention used by this demo account. And we can actually compare now here, before and after, the different campaigns. Now, I doubt that they have only these two campaigns, but you get the point. So the next thing that you need to do is go to session campaign and have a look at which campaigns, which Google Ads campaigns are actually performing better or worse comparing to the previous period. In order to be able to do this in a successful way, you need obviously to use some naming conventions that will allow you to filter everything quickly and easily, right? So in this example, we have 35 campaigns, the different, let's say, UTM tags that are being used for this website, and we managed to find, let's say, some campaigns labeled Evergreen. This one also is like a PMAX campaign. This one is another PMAX campaign. So maybe we can use, let's say, filter as PMAX, and we can actually pull all the different campaigns. And what we need to do is we need to establish this decline in terms of the number of key events, meaning the purchases that we are investigating here. Where is it coming from, right? So for example, this campaign, it got 0 sales this period, but it got 22 sales during the comparison period, right? This campaign here, the hats, it got 0 sales within, let's say, this period and very little traffic comparing to 6 sales in the previous period, right? So clearly what we can see here is that we have some campaigns that used to run before, that they used to convert, and these campaigns now in this period, they deliver actually very little traffic, which means that we paused basically these campaigns that were performing, and this resulted into sales actually going down. Maybe we enabled campaigns also that didn't work. So that's question number 2. So question number 1, compare with previous period. Question number 2, which campaigns are doing better or worse comparing to the previous period. Question number 3 now, what else can we do? We can do a lot of things. Question number 3, we're going to go to engagement, we're going to go to landing pages, and we are going to check basically here. We don't need to compare the dates anymore, so we're going to disable the comparison. But we are going to check what are the most efficient landing pages for Google Ads. How are we going to do this? We're going to go engagement, landing page, we're going to create a filter. And here we're going to say that we want to filter the session default channel group that exactly matches, and we are going to select cross network, and we are also going to select paid search. If you have paid video also, you can select paid video. So now we have a landing page report that is only focusing on traffic that is coming from Google Ads. How do we know that? Because we just created a filter, including the traffic that is coming from cross network, meaning PMAX and paid search. So now what I need to do is the obvious, meaning I want to focus on which landing pages are generating sales. I'm going to select here under key events, purchase, for example. I'm going to sort from the highest to lowest, and I'm going to check here what are the most successful landing pages. So we can see here that this collections page, Super G, whatever it is actually generating sales. We can see some products actually that are doing quite well. For example, here we can see that the majority of the traffic is going to the homepage, and the homepage has a very decent, let's say, conversion rate here. Session key event rate is also driving a lot of purchases. So the goal here is to pinpoint maybe the top 5 landing pages that are performing well. And maybe what you can do is you can ask another question: which pages in your website receive a lot of paid search traffic, a lot of Google Ads traffic, but they are not generating anything in return, right? So, for example, we are sending a lot of traffic, not maybe a lot, but we are sending traffic to the apparel page, and we have basically 0 key events here. Now, for those of you who say all the things are great, but we are not tracking, let's say, sales and conversions, and we don't have key events, are there any other metrics that we can look into? In this case, you can look into the average engagement time per session, and you need to compare based on the average for your website. You can find the pages that are doing better than the average and the pages that are doing lower than the average. And you can also use bounce rate, for example, as a qualitative indicator. So if you are not tracking any events or key events, you can fall back to qualitative metrics, and you can look for bounce rate, you can look for the average engagement time per session. That's another way to go. So what else can we now have a look at? Now let's actually have a look, go to tech details report from the left-hand side. So let's say now we establish if we are doing better or worse comparing the time period. We found the campaigns that create the difference. We found which landing pages are performing and which are not performing. And now we are going to go to tech details. And the first thing that we need to do is change the dimension to device category. And now that we change the dimension, we need to create again a filter, same like before. So for example, session, default channel group, exactly matches cross-network paid search. So we narrow down to Google Ads traffic. And now I want to see whether the key events, we're going to start from that, meaning purchase in this case, are coming mainly from desktop or mobile. And I can see here that obviously my desktop traffic seems to be a lot better. So I have lesser, let's say, users, lesser sessions overall, but a lot more purchases in this case, right? And a lot more revenue, since this is an e-commerce transaction. We established now that the desktop traffic is a lot better. So if we want to be efficient, one thing we can do is go back to Google Ads, and we can disable mobile, right? Now, what else do we need to look at? And for the people, again, that you are not tracking key events or conversions, what else do you need to look at? Again, we're going to fall back in qualitative metrics if we don't have key events. So average engagement time per active user or per session, bounce rate, you're going to compare the total versus, let's say, desktop, mobile, and tablet. And if you see any significant differences that can really help you to be more efficient, you are going to go back to Google Ads and make these changes. Next question now. Let's go under user attributes and go to demographic details. This is for those of you who are targeting either very big countries like India, Pakistan, Indonesia, Thailand, USA, and so forth, or those of you who are targeting different countries with your Google Ads. So for those of you who have international campaigns, we're going to come here. We're going to again add a filter, and we're going to say session default channel group exactly matches. And we're going to select cross-network paid search. We're going to apply. And now that we filtered only the Google Ads traffic, we are going to do the same drill, meaning we start with the key events or events that matter for you. We sort on a descending order from the country with the highest number of key events to the lowest. And here we can see actually that United States is driving the majority of purchases. And even though we send quite a bit of traffic to Canada, we are getting quite a bit of traffic from Canada. And even though we're getting quite a bit of traffic from Canada, and we're getting quite a bit of traffic maybe from other countries, these other countries don't really produce anything meaningful. Again, if you don't track key events or you don't have event tracking in Google Analytics, you fall back to qualitative metrics like the engagement time per session, per active user, the bounce rate, and so forth. If you are targeting a single country, this is still useful because you can change the dimension from country to city. And here you can actually see, let's actually focus on one country. So let's actually focus on USA. So we're going to click on filter here and we're going to add another condition. We're going to say the country here is United States. And we're going to apply. So now we see Google Ads traffic only and USA traffic only. And I can sort by key events. And I can see that New York has the highest conversion rate, the highest number of purchases, and then it's followed by Chicago, and then some other, let's say, cities. And here we can see that we have 1,030 cities, but only maybe the top 10 are generating something meaningful for the business, or maybe even the top 5, which means that you can actually go straight to Google Ads and you can say, what if we just target only New York, Chicago, and certain states maybe, right, in the United States instead of the entire country. And that's another way that you can use Google Analytics to optimize your Google Ads campaigns. What else can we do? Couple more things in the same report. So you can change the dimension from town and city to language. If you are in a multilingual country, right? Now, USA is not really the definition of a multilingual country, but let's say we are a multilingual kind of location, right? Like Malaysia, for example. You need to check whether English or some other languages are generating the majority of key events and how these languages are doing from a qualitative point of view. And you can even change these to, let's say, age and gender, and you can actually check the age groups and the genders that are driving the majority of key events, or they have the better stats, qualitative stats, when it comes to Google Ads traffic. You can do this with age group, you can do this with genders, basically here. And the last thing that you can actually have a look at is interests. These interests here match with what you can choose on Google Ads when you create an audience signal for, let's say, performance max campaigns, or when you create a display campaign and you target certain interests. So you can actually sort here by number of key events. You can look into the qualitative statistics, and you can take all this information. You can go back and you can optimize your Google Ads campaigns. So in summary, let me recap everything that we explained today. Before you get started, you link Google Ads with Google Analytics, and you make sure that you have auto tagging enabled in Google Ads. Both video tutorials are down in the video description. After that, what questions do you need to ask? First question is, we're going to go to traffic acquisition and we are going to compare the current period, this month, this quarter, this week, with the previous period, previous week, previous quarter, previous month. We are going to establish whether we're doing better, worse, or the same. If we are doing better or worse, then we're going to go to session campaign. We are going to pull up all the campaigns that are relevant to Google Ads, and we're going to check which campaigns are creating the difference in traffic and also key events. Next question, landing pages. You are going to go to engagement, landing page. You are going to ask the question, which landing pages are performing better or worse when they receive traffic from Google Ads. And once you find the top 5, let's say, landing pages, you're going to go back, you're going to inform your campaigns. Maybe you can create site links. You can play with this information in very interesting ways. The next thing you need to do, you're going to go to tech details. You're going to change the dimension to device category. You are going to see whether Google Ads traffic is performing better on desktop or mobile. And based on that, you're going to go to Google Ads, and maybe you need to remove completely, let's say, mobile or tablet or certain, let's say, device categories. Then you're going to go to demographic details. If you are running international campaigns or you are running campaigns in huge countries like USA, Canada, India, Pakistan, and so forth, you are going to come here. You're going to see which countries are performing the best, which cities are performing the best. And if you want to take it one step further, you can also have a look at the language, age, gender, and interest. You're going to make notes of everything that is working and everything that is not working. And then you're going to take some time to implement all of this knowledge in your Google Ads campaigns. That's how you can use Google Analytics to improve your Google Ads campaigns quickly and easily without overcomplicating things. Is there more we can do? Someone may say, yes, what about attribution? Indeed, you are right. We're going to cover that in a different video. Thank you for watching that far. If you watched that far, don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a great day in any time zone. Bye, everyone.